Now then, I say, on this day I have myself a little dilemma, a decision to make regarding dented Doris. Little Doris down there passed its MOT without even an advisory. Once I covered up that bit of rusty bit with some gaffer tape, but it's just the wing anyway, it's not structural. And I would quite like to do like a restoration jobby on this. It's full of scratches, which I can cope with. It's full of dents, which require a bit more dedication. Just here we have a much more dented car called Eric, Zomberic. And as you can see, this door is perfectly good, as is this door. And that's also quite useful, because Doris is dented quite significantly on this door. And that wing, come to that in a minute. And this door, although, you know, I've seen a lot worse. So the dilemma is, do I take off the two doors off of Eric and paint them in the correct colour with a rattle can? Or will I find myself thinking, oh gosh, that's not going to do a particularly good job with a rattle can? Well, I've surprised myself with this in the past, where I think I've done quite a good job. Certainly a job that makes the car look much better than it used to do. I'm going to say the job I did with the rattle can on Harry Seacombe was actually good, considering it was a rattle can. Now look at the old thing, covered in leaves. Could you really tell from what you're looking at now that this was actually done with a rattle can? Well, probably not. You'd have to actually see it with your own eyes, or I'd have to just get really close, and then you can see some of the imperfections that I haven't managed to polish or buff out. But this is the thing, you see, if I can do a half decent job with a rattle can, then maybe with some patience I could do a really good job with some professional gear. Yeah, but do I do it? I don't know if I'm brave enough to go out and buy the gear that I could end up wasting my money on, trying to do something that I really just don't get the hang of. At the moment I feel a bit like it would be deciding to become a carpenter, and I need to buy all the gear for doing that particular job, but I haven't got any of it yet and I don't know where to start. So, what's the answer? That's wobbling around all over the place, that is. I'm a penguin, I'm a ducky, and neither did you know. Should I have a cup of tea? Should I have a cup of tea? Should I have a cup of tea now? Yes. No. No, I'll have one afterwards. HFF. I'm going to go to the paint shop on Whitworth Road and basically seek some advice. Now obviously they're going to tell me to buy stuff, aren't they, because they're a shop. They're in business of selling paint and accessories and things like that. So I'm going to need to buy some stuff, aren't I? It's as simple as that. I've never said this before, but I actually really have the urge to be good at something in the automotive world. I'm never going to be a mechanic. I'm never going to be good at it. I just don't think like a mechanic. I end up with a problem and I go and see a mechanic and they've got a solution for it straight away. And when I see that solution, I think, oh yeah, of course, yeah. It's obvious really when you think about it, isn't it? But I don't make that connection. But maybe I can with something else. What the kind of things that mechanics say. I love getting my hands dirty. Well, I don't. I never have done. In fact, when I was a small boy, I was a bit obsessive about having my hands clean, to the extent where I think they worried about me at school. Love taking things apart. Actually, I do. The one thing that spoils taking things apart is dirt and oil and grease, and all of that stuff just spoils it for me. I mean, obviously cars live outside, and living outside means that you end up getting dirty. But to this extent, I'm not getting it at all. Painting isn't what you would call a clean job, but it's a kind of muckiness that I'm actually quite comfortable with, and it goes very well. It goes hand in hand with cleanliness. Now, to look at me, you wouldn't think of me as being a particularly into cleanliness, and I'm not. I'm not that interested in it, but I like paint. I just like shiny paint. I'm only asking some advice, but I actually feel quite nervous because I feel like I've got to blag this. I've got to blag the money, I've got to blag the advice, and then I've got to blag the doings as well, which could take me from having something that's completely out of my control. No. Having something that I never used to be able to do anything about into something I could very much do something about. That was a worthwhile trip indeed. Now, I have come out with a box full of goodies and lots of advice, which is very good. They were very, very happy to talk to me. They'll go through all the things I need to be preparing myself for, and the bits. It's not quite as expensive as I was expecting as well. But before I go back and start messing, I think I need to go and get something to eat. Been out quite a while. Quite a bit longer than I was expecting. That's the thing when people are helpful. It's time consuming. Before I show you what's in the box of the boot, I shall show you what's in the bag. As I have just been down Milkston Road. Would you like to have a guess what I'm going to have to eat? I'll give you a clue. They're you can pick them up. They're of a triangular shape and they're covered in pastry. Right, let's make a start, shall we? This is a piece of carpet, and on the piece of carpet is my air compressor. And then this is a Rover 800, which has a boot full of lacquer peel. And on that boot is a box full of bits, peripheries, etc. for this item. So we have an air hose. Yes, 50 foot air hose. Very useful. And then we have the spray gun itself. That will come in handy. And then we also have the air regulator and filter. Now this is actually really necessary because in order to get a neat spray, the air has to come out at a particular speed, a particular force. And what's also necessary is it hasn't got water flowing through it as well. So that's what this does. It condenses the water that may be in the tank and keeps the pressure exact. And then also we have adapters 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now the chap in the shop told me everything I needed to do with this. He explained everything, explained why things needed to be in a particular way, and I understood it, but now I've probably forgotten it. So it's important that I try and get this together now so I can remember some of it. The air regulator needs clamping to the that somewhere, and then we have the tube here, and then of course the spray gun, and that's really all there is to it. Quite easy really, although there is Hang on. Yeah, I need another. There's something else I need. Back to the paint shop I go. Well, what have I got myself in for? It's like having to have instructions before doing anything. I wanted to get some. I needed another adapter and some paint. I thought, may as well. Let's make a start with dented Doris. I can paint those two doors, and so I know what paint I need. All I've got to do is just get the paint, set the thing up, try and get it a bit warmer inside, clear of space, etc., and just do it. So it's base coat with thinners. That's it. Base coat with thinners, and then the lacquer is lacquer and hardener. So that's 4 pots of paint, all coming to nearly £60. Well, this is rather exciting. So now I have this lot and all of this as well. So the paint, which is the British Racing Green, base coat thinners, measuring juggies. What's this? Oh, lacquer and hardener. And some instructions. Lacquer 2 to 1. 2 parts lacquer, 1 part hardener.